If Mr. Wade and your daughter were dating, you wouldn't have known that unless your daughter told you.
I did not know that they were dating.
More witnesses taking the stand during day 2 of testimony in a hearing that could shape the future prosecution of former President Donald Trump and 14 others accused of Georgia's interfering with Georgia's 2020 election. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. I'm Faith Jesse.
And I'm Jennifer Bellamy. Defense attorneys are asking the judge to disqualify Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade from the case, arguing they had an improper romantic relationship that they used to benefit themselves financially. We have team coverage for you tonight from the hearing with Zach Merchant, Grace King, and Brittany Kleinpeter, all digging into what happened today and how it could impact the case moving forward. But let's go first now to Zach Merchant live outside of the courthouse. Zach?
Well, it was the second day of testimony where defense attorneys worked to try to convince a Fulton County judge that District Attorney Fani Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade are no longer able to impartially prosecute this case. Now, both Wade and Willis have vigorously denied that, and today, in another long day of testimony, the district attorney's own father starred on the witness stand. Now, Wade and Willis have both admitted that they had a romantic relationship. One of the ongoing big questions in the saga is now when it started, and specifically whether it began before or after Willis gave Wade a contract to serve as a special prosecutor, which earned him and his firm hundreds of thousands of dollars. Willis and Wade have both testified it didn't start until 2022, a year after Wade became special prosecutor. A former friend of Willis, who once worked in the district attorney's office, Robin Yurdy, said yesterday the relationship actually started in 2019, long before Wade became involved with the case. But today, Willis's father, John Floyd, said he lived with Willis in 2019 and said she was actually dating somebody else.
You have no doubt that their romantic relationship was in effect from 2019 until the last time you spoke with her?
No doubt.
She had a boyfriend when I first got there.
Okay. And did you meet her boyfriend?
Yeah, I met him often.
Okay. And did you know him by any specific nickname?
Yeah, Deuce. He was a disc jockey or something.
Those were not the only big moments in court today. This afternoon, defense attorneys spent hours trying to get answers from an attorney who was called to the stand, who was claiming he couldn't answer because his knowledge was protected by attorney-client privilege. The judge seemed inclined to agree until a surprise series of questions from the state suggested the judge may reconsider. We'll tell you what happened coming up at 6.
Zach, thank you so much. And now we want to turn things over to Grace King, who's also been monitoring this case very closely. So, Grace, there's a lot at stake with this misconduct. Now, if the judge does disqualify Willis and Wade, it would dramatically impact what happens with this election interference case.
It would impact this case, but the case is going to go forward with or without District Attorney Fani Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade, because a grand jury is the one that indicted former President Trump and his alleged co-conspirators. Now, it could dramatically slow things down if they were to be disqualified, potentially into 2025 and beyond. Emory Law School professor John Acevedo says the Georgia Association of Prosecutors would be tasked with finding someone to lead the case. That in itself would likely take a while.
The problem is there's very few offices in Georgia that actually have the financial resources, staff, and expertise to do a RICO case. They're quite complicated.
Even those who are qualified don't necessarily want to try this case. Here's what former Governor Roy Barnes told the court about his meeting with DA Willis in 2021 when she was seeking to appoint a special prosecutor.
She asked me if I'd be interested in being special prosecutor, to which I replied that I had mouths to feed at a law office and that I would not do that.
Now, Judge Scott McAfee says he anticipates hearing disqualification arguments from both sides either late next week or the following one. At that point, he'll have to decide whether to remove or keep Willis and her team from prosecuting this case.
Grace, thank you so much for bringing that to us. And we have been getting a lot of questions from you all related to the impacts that this trial could have on other trials in the county. So coming up at 5:30, we will take a closer look at what this means for the potential jurors called to serve. We've been following this case very closely. If you would like to rewatch Willis's testimony from yesterday, we are streaming them right now on the 11 Alive Plus streaming app. Just search for 11 Alive on your streaming device. It will be on the front page of that app.